Hey, all you Wookiee warriors, how's it going? So I'm making this video while I still have the video that I wanted to make in my head and the topic I wanted to talk about. And it's all sparked to me by when I was watching some movies, especially an old movie right now. I'm watching 13th Warrior. And I just remembered the times where movie companies were willing to risk more on a title than what they are doing now. Um, like I can't imagine, like, I mean, 13th Ward never got another movie, but they did it and it was a great movie. And they moved on to another project, and then you have, but it just seems like movies nowadays are just they don't want to risk that. I mean, back in the 90s, like that's when 13th Warrior was around 19 when it first came out, it was 1999. I personally didn't see it until like 2010, but um, we had movies around in every genre. It seemed like we had action adventure, like movies like when you think action adventure, you think like Rambo, you think um, which I think like Terminator was more like an action adventure horror versus just an action movie. I think it became more of an action movie later on. Um, but um, then we had like westerns, and when you think westerns, you obviously think Clint Eastwood because he did a lot of westerns before. I think he did Dirty Harry. Um, but there's a whole lot more westerns. One of my favorite westerns to watch is Lonesome Dove, which is an awesome movie. You guys, if you guys are into westerns, I would probably go watch it. It's not a spaghetti western. It's more like the old west. This is kind of uh, like how life was back then, kind of a deal. It wasn't like an movie. I mean, there is action parts in it. There are parts where there is some action in it, but it's more like you have various different characters. They all have their own plights um, throughout the story, and the story envelops. Um, then you have other movies like Open Range, which is more like an action western, if you want to put it that way. It's not spaghetti. It's the story starts off. These guys. The technical term is free grazers. They were moving cattle from one place to another for money, and they live mostly, I think, off the land. And they end up having, they go into town just for some supplies. One of the friends gets injured. The other one is a kid. He gets his butt kicked so hard that he doesn't know if he lives, and they're just trying to leave. And then the group comes in again, kills the big guy, kills one of their friends, and then beats the kid again and kills their dog. I might be remembering the movie a little bit wrong. So it becomes kind of like a movie about adventure, not adventure, but around revenge. But I'm just saying, a lot of these movies, they weren't afraid to try new things. Like, I would actually be okay with so we have so many actors that can do it now. I would be okay with them trying to do another He-Man, even though I love the movie He-Man, Masters of the Universe with Jeff Langdon. I think he did a fantastic job. But I'd be okay with them doing a reboot for that. Um, but it just seems like that's what they're doing now, is that they're so afraid of doing their own thing and mixing things up. Like, also, like 13th Warrior had to do with um uh somewhat the main character is from like India, I think, or Arabia. Sorry, Arabia. And he goes to the north to kind of be like their ambassador, to talk to people, and he immerses himself in the culture and fights with a clan. he learns their language, learns their ways, and tries to even bring some new ways. And I actually kind of laugh at him because his horse is small compared to the rest of them, and he shows off like how fast it runs and how good it jumps, and because they called it a dog. Only an Arab would bring a dog to war. That's what they said. And while they're leading, even the king kind of makes a joke, says, "So the dog can jump," you know. Um, but it just doesn't seem like we have too many movies out there, wanting to do directors, movie producers who want to do this. And I think that's where I feel like golden standard was for movies is like not modern, but more like back in the heydays. Is like they weren't afraid of doing like someone comes up to the table is like, hey, how about we do a fairy Star Wars movie? Like a sci-fi with fairies, and he's like, that sounds stupid. Let's try it. But it's like now they just want to rehash and rehash and rehash because they knew that it makes them money. Granted, I know everything is about making the money. I know. But I feel like if you have enough talent, you have good writers, you got a good producer, you got a good director. I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs of making a movie, but I feel if you got the talent there, you're going to make good movies. And if you have that and you make a movie like if you take a video, let's say, because we have a few of those already. If they take a movie from from a video game and turn it into a movie, like they tried with Resident Evil. Let's say they, because I know they're talking about doing this on, I think, Hulu, where they're gonna make God of War a TV show. Imagine if they made it into a movie, or instead of making a video game into a movie, or a movie into a video game, and make a video game into a movie, like Mass Effect, or I don't know if you do Dark Souls, to be honest with you, because that game doesn't have a beginning, a middle, and end. It's kind of like you have to make your own. You have to fill in the gaps on your own. But I don't know. I guess I just feel like movies are just dying. Like I remember, like going to the movie theaters to go watch Harry Potter, and I was with my that was my middle school class. I went with. Like we all went to see Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. That was the first movie, not the first movie I ever saw in the movie, but that was the movie I went and saw with my class. And then I remember, I guess this shows my age. I mean, I'm not. I don't feel like I'm that old. Cause I got. Uh, I mean, you gotta remember, I'm 1990s, so we didn't have DVD players. It's not like we didn't have them, but they were really expensive, and not every household had one. Well, I remember it was like 2000, 2001, roughly. We got our first DVD player. And the first movie we ever watched with it was Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. And I remember us sitting in the living room trying so hard to get it to work. And I think it was my sister or myself who actually got it to work, because we've been hooking up game systems for God knows how long. And it was relatively like hooking up a game system. And I remember we just sat there watching Lord of the Rings. But I mean, I even gave an idea for even a Lord of the Rings movie, because they did Lord of the Rings, and then they did a real life movie adaptation of The Hobbit, I think it's 1977 Hobbit, which was really good, by the way. Um, I'm like, but there's so much time in that movie that they can actually make other series in it. Like there was a Dark Lord before Sauron, who at that time, to put it mildly, it'd be like Darth Maul and Darth Plagueis, or not Plagueis, but Darth Sidious. That's pretty much what it was. Or Revan and Malik. Those are the. That's something that I think would have been really cool, is to see, the plight of those guys, and maybe some new characters and some reoccurring characters, um, and maybe like one of the other wars for Middle Earth. Because I think that Gandalf has been around a long time. So I know the actor really wants to play Gandalf one more time, at least, before he officially, he's like, I'm too old for this. But I think he wants to do it one more time, and I think it's possible. I think doing that, doing movies like that would have been really cool. Maybe even see Saruman before he was like got corrupted by the dark. Um, which you gotta admit, that actor actually gets a lot of those roles. Like he played Count Dooku, then he played Saruman. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of rambling on about this at this point, but it just feels that way. I mean, not even horror movies are like. At least maybe I'm just out of touch because I don't have cable and I don't see advertisement for a movie every 5 seconds. But it just feels like when they're shelling out movies, like, I'm sorry, I first heard about it when I was checking my Instagram, and one of the guys I like watching at the Ren Fair um is talking about Barbie. I'm like, wait, they came out with a movie about Barbie? What? To me, it was like they coming out with a movie like Happy Feet. That was another movie. Is like my uncle watched it. I never watched Happy Feet because of this. My uncle literally said watching Happy Feet. He went with his family, and he was like, it was torture for the poor man. He's like, I wanted to gouge out my eyes because he just didn't want to see it anymore. So it was like, I'll pass. But that's the thing. It's like everyone has their own thing, but movie is either going to go do really well or really do really bad. And I guess the same thing with. I mean, they're not doing superhero movies anymore because I guess a lot of the actors are getting too old for the roles, or they're just not doing as well, or vice versa. But personally, I don't mind superhero movies going away because I think they've been doing too long and too, like, they're trying to do, like, they've had the worst luck when it comes to Batman. Like, they had Michael Keaton, who did a fabulous job playing as Batman. Then they had Val Kilmer, who did, in my opinion, he did an alright job. Then we had the worst Batman ever, which is George Clooney. And then we had Christian Bale, which I think he did a decent job, but I think he overshot his voice again. I think I've said this before. And then we had the Batman. I think it was Robert. I can't remember his last name. Um, but then I know he played in Harry Potter. He played as Cedric. Um, but let me know in the comment section below, guys, what you guys think. Do you guys agree? Do you think movies are just kind of going out of the way they used to? Because I just feel that the creativity behind movies, or they're just reducing, is like, okay, what genre? I feel like there's a big genre bulletin. It's like action, adventure, horror, um, just action, and then goofy movies. Okay, which sci-fi? Okay, which one? Oh, we make a lot of money on sci-fi. Let's just do all of our sci-fi. I just feel like that's something they do in the boardroom. Is like, ooh, yeah. And I can imagine maybe one person is like, why don't we just do it on this? This sounds better. It's like, no, shut up. But no, I mean, there's another reason why I think like movies like Avatar are do so well is because they allow us. And that's another thing I think the biggest problem with movies nowadays is like if you look at Avatar for a minute, Avatar has no politics in it whatsoever. They just make the movie, and you're able to forget about your world for a bit. You're able to immerse yourself in the movie. Like you are on Pandora. You know, you are one of these characters going through this plight or going through their adventure. And I feel that that's another thing that hurts movies nowadays is that people are being too political in movies. Like we don't want to talk about politics. Like I'll give you an example, funny example. I was at Walmart and I was just buying my groceries. I was being really nice to the guy, and then he was talking about like he doesn't like the current president, and I'm like, I just politely said I don't talk about politics. I mean, I really don't want to talk about politics, especially when I'm trying to do my uh, go on my just pay for my groceries and go about my day. Um, and it feels like they're pushing politics into movies when I really think they shouldn't. I mean, there was no politics in Terminator. There was really no politics in like the good, the bad, the ugly. I don't. In Dirty Harry, I don't think there wasn't any politics. It was just a story. Um, and I feel like that's just something that we really like movie people need to go away from is stop putting politics into their films. I mean, there's times and places for that. Like if you want to watch the movie, great, don't put politics in it. Do something like if you want to send a message to people like after the movie had ended, like a brief message, like they did like on shows. Like I remember growing up and like watching um, Double Dragons, for instance. They would before doing credits. I think it was just after the show had finished. They would give you a quick, probably a minute long message like don't be mean to kids. Treat everyone with respect. Treat everyone the way you would want to be treated, kind of stuff. I mean, I guess they could do that, but I don't think they would. Um, but I don't know. It just feels like I keep on saying. It just feels like movies is just dying out because they're trying too hard to rehash some of the movies that did so well and try to earn that money versus trying to be creative and just do their own thing. Um, and then they're also being too political. And I guess that's probably like even when I was in my teens, I still preferred older movies versus newer movies. Like the newest movie, like I remember us actually going out and watching and buying was like the newer Star Wars, like Phantom Menace and Inspector Gadget, and then Lord of the Rings. I don't remember us actually getting like really really newer movies, except for maybe Harry Potter. Um, but yeah, guys, that's it. That's the end of the video. I'll probably post this sometime this week. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Am I looking too close closely into it. Do you guys agree? Tell me why you guys agree. Um, do you, um, do you think movies are just hitting a rough patch and things will pick up eventually? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I love reading your guys' comments. Also, guys, don't forget to rate the video. If you liked the video, give it a good thumbs up. If you didn't like the video and your guy was like, this guy's whack, you gave me a thumbs down, please let me know in the comment section below why I got the thumbs down, so I have the opportunity to turn it into a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that red button, that subscribe button for more content, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified anytime I go live or a new video comes out, so you don't miss a single video or stream by the Wookiee. Until next time, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys are all having a Wookiee-tastic day, and I'll see you all on our next adventure. Till next time, see ya.